Welcome to Talksicology, brought to you by Recovery Unplugged, the place where we talk about all things substance abuse, recovery, and mental health, with guests offering varying perspectives and viewpoints. Hosts Joseph Gordo and Jason Cabello share about their addiction and recovery and other serious subject matter through lighthearted yet candid conversation. Nik Sadecky.
What's up?
It's been a long time coming, man.
Mr. Cabello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I don't see you around as much as I used to.
I know, right? I made it past that early part where I was desperate and needed your help for everything.
How long do you have now?
3 years on the 11th. Coming up real quick.
I'll give 3 years to anybody now, huh?
3 years fast.
That's crazy. So I met Nik, I guess, about 3 years ago, just a little under 3 years ago, because you were still in treatment when I think we met, right?
Yeah. Probably this is the anniversary of when we met.
Yeah. So we were...
Less than 30 days.
So was it when I was speaking at the alumni thing? Is that when we met? Or was it just... I don't remember the exact time.
Neither do I.
Okay. So let's say I was either at Recovery Unplugged here in Austin, Texas, or I was speaking at an alumni event, maybe the alumni barbecue.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then Nik came up afterwards, and we just started talking and just hit it off. And
we had briefly met once before that at a meeting that they had bussed us in a druggy buggy out to. So okay. I do remember seeing you once before that, but I was another face in the detox crowd.
Handsome face.
Not at that point. It got progressively better as time went on. Like, this is repaired 3 years of fixing stuff. Then I guess it would be clean dates April 11th. So let's call it 30 days after that, you did that speaking event.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's been 3 years.
Time flies.
It's crazy to think that, all this stuff that you've put together, it's only been 3 years.
I know, right?
Imagine what the future holds.
I kick myself that damn, I did this in 3 years and I should have started sooner, but yeah.
Fuck that shit. I never, people always would talk to me about that now, after getting clean. Like, dude, could you just imagine? I'm like, no, because everything aligned perfectly for the way my life is now. I couldn't imagine. I mean, I am in the best relationship I've ever been in my life. We're getting married. We live out here. We live in fucking Austin, Texas. I got out of Florida. I love Florida now, but I hated it so much when I lived there. Just because, I think you could understand this. When you lived somewhere for so long and all it is where you used and that's all you know, there was such this layer of grime over it on my eyes.
Over everything.
Now I go back and I'm like, I see why people vacation here. I see why people love to come here. It's beautiful.
You're on vacation there.
That's true. I'm on vacation there. But yeah, man, so 3 years, coming up on 3 years, that's not wood, but close enough. But first, before we found out how you did it, how you got clean and sober, what led you up to, what was your childhood like? Where'd you grow up?
I started in Pittsburgh and then kind of bounced around. I was the little kid on a plane by himself from age 10 on. So I did.
Okay, your parents were split up.
At Pittsburgh and LA. And everybody in Pittsburgh was like, oh, wow, you go to school in LA. And everybody in LA is like, I don't give a fuck where you're from.
Right.
Yeah. And
a little kid alone on an airplane thing.
That felt cool.
Dude, especially back then, because we're on the same age, right?
Yeah.
How old are you now?
I'm 44-ish.
Okay, I'm a bit older than you, so.
You look younger than me, if you ask me, but I feel old.
But yeah, dude, going on planes in the 80s and shit where, people are smoking in the back and you're alone on the plane and just what's going on?
I'm an unattended minor pretending he's a businessman at 12. This is, and the stewardess pays extra attention to you. It's you don't even have to be in first class to feel first class.
And especially if there was a layover involved, you got the VIP treatment. They took you in this little cool back room and put
super
the TV
fast golf
on.
Carts from A to B to make sure I get there. Yeah, I love that.
I haven't thought about that in a long time, but that was a cool feeling.
It was a cool feeling. I used to love looking out the window of the plane at takeoff and landing at that age, watching the world fall away. And you just kind of train your eye on a superhighway or something, and you can see the tiny sparkles traveling along the superhighway, and you realize that that's a semi tractor trailer truck or a full Greyhound bus full of people, and it seats like 5,700 people, somewhere like that. I don't know how many fit in a Greyhound, but you watch it just fade away to this tiny glittering speck on the ground. And at that age, I realized, like, wow, how big do those specks think their problems are when they're just specks? And I started to feel, it was a very good feeling of humility and like connectedness to everything. They're like, we're very small.
That's a very like preternatural way to think. Like if when that stuff just comes to you like that in those little moments, that's pretty. And how old were you think when you first experienced that?
Preteen.
Yeah.
Preteen for sure.
Yeah.
And before that, I was the little kid in the projects by himself. Like I was the only white kid growing up in the project.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is in Pittsburgh?
In Pittsburgh. Yeah. And all the problems that I was carrying with me all faded away as I was flying from town to town.
So that was a good escape for you then, going, you get to be this person here, you get to be this person here. So so Pittsburgh life was pretty like in the hood, and it was rough area.
Rough and poor, but that's where family was at.
Okay.
The best family was in
Strong
Pittsburgh.
family. And then what's LA like? LA
was chaotic shit show, and that piece of family, that's where all the trauma comes from.
Okay. But a nicer backdrop.
Nicer backdrop, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty on the surface, but yeah, some rotten floorboards underneath.
That's always interesting when it's like the home is like where most people wouldn't, by looking at it, think like, oh, this is where this kid feels at home. This is where he's safer. This is where he feels better. And then you get to go to LA where, like you said, most of your friends from back in Pittsburgh are like, oh, is your family out there movie stars? What is it?
No. I wish. I had some interesting adventures in Los Angeles, though.
Yeah?
And
let's get into that.
Growing up there was like part-time, because every time I'd flunk a semester of school in Pittsburgh, I'd fly out to Los Angeles to go do summer school there.
Oh,
so I was doing school both places, and sometimes I would stay for another semester in Los Angeles till I flunked there, come back and do summer school in Pittsburgh.
Where at in LA was it?
Del Valley.
Oh, nice.
Started in Glendale, moved over to Burbank, jumped to Hollywood, and then over the years, I've lived in several of different places. Went to rehab in Tarzana, went to rehab in Pasadena, I went to rehab in Highland Park. I lived in Huntington Beach for a bit. Woodland Hills was my favorite spot because I got to stay in a mansion with somebody super dope.
Yeah.
And on until that just never felt like home, and ended up going back to Pittsburgh for a while my grandma was going through her last couple of years with Alzheimer's and dementia.
Okay.
Rather than put her in a home, she kind of recognized me and sort of remembered who I was. She couldn't tell you who I was, but she knew she liked me.
Right.
And so we were just like, let's not put her in a home. I'll just keep her. So I dressed her up like me, took her on drug runs. She was totally happy. She didn't care. She spent her last 3 years with me. Just
best days
fun.
of her life.
She was everywhere we went. I know this place. No, you don't. No, stop playing.
And when did you start getting high? What was the first?
Very early.
Yeah.
Very, very early. I actually kind of got tricked into the serious stuff. I did this same stuff all kids do, smoking weed and all that with your high school buddies and everything. But I had an uncle who was an early heroin addict, and he offered me and my younger cousin, his son, some when we were just 17 and 15. And before I knew what it actually was, I was physically hooked on it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a rough start. But once I knew what it was, I kind of came out to the family. I was like, I need to go to rehab, but that just didn't work. And I'm like, once you're off and running, you're off and running. And I found myself actually falling in love with my own downfall, because that warm rush of an opiate is like the worst temptation.
I know.
Especially when you need to like numb any kind of a trauma or get rid of a thought. That's a quick one to get rid of anything that was bothering you before.
Yeah. I mean, myself, that was the first time I took. I it wasn't heroin the first time I took it, but it was like
A painkiller.
a painkiller,
And it killed the pain.
even pain that wasn't there.
It killed pain that wasn't even there.
Yeah, that's how good it was. It was just like, and I knew like instantly, like my friend who gave it to me, not my friend who gave it to me, but my friend who I was with. We were driving home from the place where the guy had given it to me, and I was just like, oh, holy shit, I am in fucking trouble.
Yeah.
This is so good.
Yeah.
And,
I'm jealous of the people who say they hated that experience
Right.
at first. I like no idea what that's like.
yeah, I must have hey, different strokes, right? So you tried it. How early was pretty early, you said?
17.
17.
With the real hard stuff.
With the real hard stuff. But when did you start just like...
As early as 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I started smoking cigarettes at like 10. And, and I was a smart kid, and I got in trouble quick being that way.
Yeah. And then by the time you're 17, are you shooting dope at this time? Are you smoking it?
I think it only took me a couple of years minimum before I was shooting it.
Okay.
Yeah. So by 19 for sure.
And you're still in Southern California at this point?
It was anywhere I went, I found it.
Okay. But I mean, are you spending most of your time between Pittsburgh and...
Started in Pittsburgh, and then I took my habit with me everywhere I went.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried the geographical detoxification program, and every time I get someplace, I find that the one thing I brought with me was me and my problems and habits. I've tried that in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Philly, Colorado. I went to Maui for a while just to like beach bum in a van on the shores for about a year. Found myself with the same problems in the same place.
Yeah. When was the first time that you thought that you needed to stop, though?
Real early.
Yeah?
Real early.
So
like
if you're 17 the first time you use it, how long until?
Like 17 and a half.
Oh,
Yeah, seriously. As soon as I realized that what kind of trouble I was in, I immediately tried to get to some sort of a rehab, but that was no concept of recovery or what like a full recovery lifestyle looked like. I just knew I didn't want to be in that situation, but I didn't know how hard it was going to be to get out.
This is a common thread that I hear with a lot of people, like the first time you go like get dope sick and don't know what it is, like you think you had a flu, like that
was exactly the situation.
Yeah.
Yes, I could like recount the experience exactly. I was sitting at home, thought I had the flu, and I was on the phone with my cousin, and my uncle takes the phone off him and says, just get over here. And I was like, dude, I don't want to come over. I told you I'm sick. Just come over. Like, I'm not coming over. I had the flu or something. Just come over. I'm like, fine, you big... Fine, I'm on my way, whatever. So I take a walk over there. As soon as I get in the door, he hands me the little wooden block with a tiny little white powder line on it. I did it and immediately felt better. I was like, what the fuck was that?
Vitamin C?
I said, oh, you're a heroin addict. And I tried to cave his head in with a 25-pound free weight, but I was too small to really swing a 25-pound free weight, and he was pretty fast. We had a little making up to do after that.
Right.
He offered me some consolation prizes. I'm like, fine, whatever.
And then...
But he didn't make it very long. I think the dude only lived to be about 40. So, of course.
Yeah.
That was the path I was offered and luckily avoided.
And it's crazy when you see it that close to you, right? Like, he's someone that you sort of, I'm guessing just from the conversation, sort of admired a little bit in a weird scumbaggy kind of way, but then also was like, this guy's a fuck up.
Totally.
Is it more that you're teetering towards being like him? And
I had a serious void for male role models as a little kid. And my mom was beautiful, wonderful. She took such good care of me. That unconditional love is what sustained me for as long as it did. And I probably owe her not just my life, but like $1 million as well. So being raised by a strong, independent single woman was one of the greatest gifts I got, because I know how to be a gentleman.
Right.
But I was starved for a male role model, and I found some weird ones along the way. But he was probably one of them. I would have done anything he offered because this is my dude, you know? Yeah.
You want to look cool to Uncle, what was his name?
Butch.
Uncle Butch.
Right? Yeah.
Shout out to Uncle Butch.
Shout out to Uncle Butch. Rest in peace, you fucker.
So you ended up in the Pacific Northwest then, right?
I did.
So-
After Maui, I met a beautiful girl. I found a dog. The dog was the most important one. But sorry, my love, but I had found a pit bull in the woods, and the pit bull just melted my heart, and actually ended up being my gateway to the island too. All of a sudden, all of the locals were like, "Oh, Holly boy, you got a blue nose." I'm like, okay, you allowed to come with us? And I'm like, all right, now I got some friends. But the dog found a girl, and the girl talked me off the island. So we moved to Seattle for the next 10 years.
And that's where things really got crazy, right?
That's where I got good at heroin, because Seattle has a culture of like
pros,
functioning addicts.
Yeah.
A lot of functioning addicts.
What year is this that you moved to Seattle?
I want to say 2013.
2013.
So 21-ish.
Okay.
Something like that.
So let's talk about the first, what it's like cutting your teeth in Seattle. Is do you have a habit already? Like, you made your habit daily?
Major. And Seattle just made it easy.
Yeah.
So
girl, was she one of us?
Unaware. And a normie.
Fuck.
So I had to, like, as long as I could do my mission and maintain, I was staying completely under the radar.
Are you a dope boy at this time yet, or no? You're slinging at this point already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's actually how I was able to maintain my habit, was just to make sure that I had all the time.
And what does she think that you're doing?
Some random job.
Like, going to a roofer.
I would be roofing.
Yeah.
Actually coming back with some sunburn and like blisters from roofing, but like all the while hustling under the radar.
Okay. All right. So you're just doing that basically to keep your habit straight, making enough money from your 9 to 5, from whatever.
Yep.
Not dead end jobs, but to pay your bills and stuff like that. You have a 9 to 5 job, and then you're slinging dope to keep your habit up. So your money is accounted for. You have as much money as you should be coming in to pay rent and get groceries and all that stuff.
Yep.
And then you're on the side. But the time that you have to spend to do that, how is that accounted for to a normie?
So I'm either at work or at a meeting, and that's that.
So she thinks you're in recovery.
I mean, that's the best life for somebody in full addiction.
Wow.
Right? I've been in recovery this whole time.
And here's the stuff that I can't talk about. And I need to, my sponsee needs me. I need to run out right now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So that's...
It's a good story.
It is a good story.
But it doesn't work, and it doesn't feed the soul. I saw myself losing interest in all the things that I loved, even with like a steady stream of incoming chemicals and having anything that I needed, and the money just like PayPal'd to me to make sure that we had more. And I had a reputation for being the dude who didn't rip people off, like, at all.
Right.
So that ran over huge in Seattle. Like, they would float me thousands to just go get more, which was very convenient when you didn't have anything already.
So you running shit too, or you just slinging? You running in?
I was like the third dude down from the cartel incoming.
Okay.
So I was in a great spot, and I had a good reputation. Everybody knew that, like, I was also using, so they could trust the supply or whatever, right? And all those things worked in my favor, but I couldn't paint a picture anymore. I hadn't picked up my guitar in like 5 years, and like I constant lies to just maintain my day.
Right.
I started losing track of how many lies I'm telling, and like just keeping track of the stories that I have to tell just to get through a day. It's so tiring. Dude,
it is serious. I used to say it's like having a full-time job and then going home to a spouse that you hate. It's just like, it is so... It just takes everything out of you.
Yeah.
And then, so what's really smart about you is saying that you do meetings and your recovery stuff as your cover story is if you run into somebody who looks a little bit like seedy and like fucking, you're just like, oh, they relapse or whatever it is. Like, cause that was the part that always fucking freaked me out. Like if I saw somebody and I was like, oh shit, if they see me talking to this person, they're gonna know 100%. And I
used to tell the people ahead of time that, like, look, if you see me with a cute blonde, do not talk to me. You don't know me. If you do, you are cut off.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. that I would see groups of people on the streets going, don't talk to him. He's busy right now.
Was there ever a time when somebody was like sick or something and then just took the chance and was like at the wrong time? Because you told me
Probably.
Because you told me some stories that like you were not the most available dealer.
Oh yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
I was not the most available dealer. I was actually probably really shitty in that respect. I would tell people, don't even call me when you're sick. Call me way before you get sick.
Mhm.
Give me plenty of time to get there. I also didn't have my phone set to alert at all. So the only way that I would know if somebody was blowing me up is if I decided to look at the phone and see that I was getting blown up, because it wouldn't vibrate. So I could be sitting on the couch with my lady and just hanging out and the phone blowing up, but nobody knows it, which is a dick move. And I'm sorry to those people who were blowing me up at that time sick. Like, hope you guys are still okay. But yeah, I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah, that's there was a couple of dealers that I had in South Florida, and they were just like, they were only available from like 8 a.m.
to
like 4 p.m. and then that was it. Like no, and then they would change their burner phone like every few weeks, so you had to constantly be in touch because you would never know when like he'd just be like new number and that was it. And if you didn't talk to him like a few days before that, it just like lost contact.
Yeah, you had to be on his like regular contact list to get that message. Yeah, my guy was a 4 p.m. until like 8 p.m. only.
Yeah.
So I had to wait all day. And if I was the guy who had that stuff before 4 p.m., it's game on.
Yeah.
But like right at 4 p.m., he'd finally start answering text messages. And it's like, it's when I have to go to a meeting.
I'm just thinking of like all the times when it was like I had like 2 minutes to the cutoff. I finally would get up enough money to be like, I finally have something. And then he's just like, I'm just on my way back, man. I already had my last run for the day. Hit me up tomorrow. And just like, there's no arguing or pleading with that. It's just like, I'm gonna be sick all night.
Yep. Quick. Done. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I've gotten busted before because my phone records on a bill I wasn't paying had like the dope man's number going like crazy until he finally picked up at like 9 a.m. or whatever it was.
Right. Yeah. Oh, back when they used to track the minutes and stuff.
You get like the
900. You'd get it in the mail and it's like that thick.
And then one page is just all the same number over and over and over and over again until it finally picks up at 9 a.m.
Wow. Antiquated
systems. I got my own system, my own phone number now, my own bill.
So you're the kind of guy who would go in and out of treatment a lot, right?
I've been to 13 different ones across the country, right?
Okay.
I've tried some real low budget places in Pittsburgh. I've tried some real high budget places in LA. I've done cold turkey a bunch of times, and I was a combination user too. Like anything you could mix together, I would try. So I've tried and kicked each different thing at different ways.
Right.
Like they're all different too. When I started noticing that there was like a physical dependency to like things that didn't have physical dependency, started to scare me. Like if I was just doing meth for a bit and like I'm getting dope sick from the meth, it's because I'm noticing that there's some fentanyl added into the meth and like that's not supposed to be there and things like that. That started to scare me out of the game. And then my daily mission of like, you have like 2 hours to get your shit together and get what you need to get and get back to like pretending like you're normal, had me waking up on the bathroom floor or surrounded by EMS and stuff. I started realizing the game ain't playable no more. It was scaring me. I didn't know, what to expect anymore. Everything's different. Everything's dirty. Everything's tainted. Nothing is consistent. Nothing is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you did a long stretch of uninterrupted time, right? Without going to treatment and just maintaining it.
Basically Seattle.
The 10 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Basically all of Seattle.
That's with I'm sure 1 or 2 times where you couldn't get something and had an uncomfortable night or two.
Yeah. Rarely, but yeah. We'd be like on a little day trip or an overnight excursion or a weekend thing and supply runs out too quick. something like that. We
Yeah.
came to Scottsdale one time, and I blew through the supply like I was on vacation.
Right,
and
right.
Man, that was a rough flight back.
Ugh. If anybody's ever been on an airplane before, dope sick.
That's why they have airsick bags.
That is just, I wouldn't wish that one on anybody.
No, the Uber drive home from the airport's even worse at that point.
Greyhound bus. I've done the Greyhound.
The Greyhound bus from Pittsburgh to Los Angeles.
Dope sick?
Half of it, yes.
Oh,
You have like 3 bags to make it across the country for a 3-day trip.
And you do the 3 bags all at once. So you just
they were gone before Colorado.
Yeah.
For sure. Way before Colorado.
Yeah. So when did you leave Seattle?
COVID. Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Here. Seattle started to implode on itself. And when they were like looking for vaccine passports to go to restaurants the dope game didn't shut down. We all still had to work on that.
Right.
People were just buying more and locking themselves in the house for longer. But it started to be like very abusively crazy. Like the restrictions they were putting on people. So we were looking for new opportunities and some freedom. I had some nieces move down here, and basically that family followed them down. So we rented a one-way RV and one of those storage pods, threw everything into the pod, shipped it to ourselves here, rented an apartment over the internet, and then got a one-way RV that went from Seattle to Dallas. And when you're looking at a map of the country, Dallas and Austin look very close to each other. But like after that long trip, I'm sure they, in the grand scheme of things, they are very close to each other. But when you're already wiped out and you're done with your trip, taking an RV back to Dallas and then coming back to Austin is a little farther than I had expected.
Yeah.
But it was a fun trip. So we had the pets, we had the plants, we had this long 5-day road trip through like Moab and Roswell and everything, all points between, and trying to stay well in a moving RV bathroom while it's going down the highway at however fast the lady's driving while she's blasting country music is really hard to do.
Right. So you IV drug user for how many years?
At least 25.
25 years.
More than that, probably, but
not a lot of us on this side of things now. Because it seems like guys who used like we used when we used, who didn't get clean, thought they were kind of fentanyl proof.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't hang out in the places I used to hang out, obviously, but like I'll run into people at meetings when I go back home every now and then. Some dudes who are just sort of always doing in and out, who are usually doing other substances. And I'll get reports and just be like, yep, so-and-so's gone, so-and-so's gone, this guy's gone, this guy's gone, this guy's gone. And it's the same thing, like press pills. Like, because when the dope started getting two-stepped on, when the fentanyl started getting in there, people are like, well, I'll just pay fucking premium for oxys or Dilaudid or whatever. And it's like, you can't even get that shit anymore. Yeah.
Totally. I was looking at some samples posted online through one of the recovery people that I know. It's this whole website of different drug samples that were found in different parts of the country, either on the bodies of victims who were recovered. So they tested the samples that were still left over, or taken in an arrest or something like that. And these cocktails are like 6 different kinds of garbage with fentanyl in it, or fluorofentanyl, fentanyl, caffeine, lidocaine, some white inert stuff, and black specks that they assume to be heroin but aren't, all in the drug sample.
Jesus Christ.
And that's what's in the bag now. And like, that's one of the good ones, I'm sure.
Right.
There are some samples that was assumed to be fentanyl, but they can find no substance of interest in the sample.
Ground drywall and speck of fentanyl.
Yeah. I'm sure I've smoked a few pieces of drywall looking around on the carpet before.
Macadamia nuts. When I was selling fake dope, macadamia nuts was my go-to for fake crack.
Bread with Ambisol on it, squished together.
Macadamia nuts with Ambisol.
I've had people come back for more bread with Ambisol on it. Like, you seriously want more? Hold on a second.
The Ambisol was a trick.
Yeah, sorry about that, dude.
Yeah. Dude, I was on a podcast called Dopey Podcast. My friend Dave Manheim, Dopey Podcast, one of the best podcasts about addiction recovery, and dumb shit is their tagline. He got some stories out of me on that, but it was me, hustling in South Florida right after all the pills mills shut down and everybody was ripping each other off, and that was one of my go-tos: is get a pack of macadamia nuts, break them, put Ambisol over them, and then sell them as rocks. It looked pretty good.
You got to get your dough money somehow.
I did. I said there was one dude in my neighborhood. I still
He
feel
was hooked
so
on macadamia
dude,
nuts.
this guy, because I was good at ripping people off. Because I wouldn't just be like, "Yeah, I got it. Come and get me." I would go on a mission. So it was like we're finding this stuff, and I'd go and run, get the money, and be like, "Oh, there's the guy. I'll be right back. You can't go in with me." And then I'd come out and be like, "What? We got ripped up? Fuck!" So never me, dude. I never ripped anybody off.
Good. Yeah, real fiend will steal your dope and help you look for it.
Yeah, scumbaggery.
That was a clever trick. I never thought of that.
Yeah, I had to have him keep coming back. That's the thing. I couldn't just rip the guy off once. He lived in my neighborhood. I needed he had a little bit of money that would come in every now and then. So I had to,
That was the key to staying afloat in Seattle, was make sure that I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And people just kept coming back.
Yeah, I didn't have that luxury, unfortunately. It was extremely hand to mouth in those days.
Seriously, it was far too easy in Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did the dope supply come from in Seattle? Did it come straight into the port?
It either comes into the port or it bypasses Texas entirely when it drives right all the way. I've noticed that, or I've learned since then, that the major cities with high rates of users and like the biggest demand are the endpoint. So like it'll come across our border, go right past us, and head straight to Seattle, Chicago, something like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was just all port there, because I know, across it just baffles me how fentanyl got everywhere, because I know there's some, like, how it just overtook everything, because everything was coming from different supplies. And then I was just always wondering if it was more stepped on here, and that's when it became more prevalent. Or
yeah, there's some conspiracy about the initial real good heroin supply being tied to the Afghanistan conflict.
Right.
And when all of that ends, or we pull out and all that's over with, we're cut off from that supply. And it's far easier to make many more doses per pound of fentanyl in a clandestine lab somewhere in Mexico using precursor chemicals from China or whatever than it is to grow a full field of poppies and produce heroin the old school way.
Yeah.
So
modern technology, yeah.
Right. This is what we get. We get what we get. That's all. That's the best that they can do. So it's all bad for business. If you're listening, cartels, that's all bad for business.
They're going to take note of that. They're going to be like,
I mean,
what?
Come on,
Fuck,
dude. Like,
they're going to redo all their equations now.
I was a lifelong user, and that shit scared me into recovery. I thought for sure I was a lifer. That was.
Do you think you'd still be using if it was still pure heroin out there?
I know it would have been a whole lot harder
to get clean.
Kick. Yes.
Yeah.
Plus, Austin is a big key to my recovery that I didn't expect. I tried the geographical detoxification thing in all these different places, and like LA, Pasadena, especially, and Highland Park, and there's some real good recovery going on in there. I was actually in rehab with Steve-O from Jackass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We were doing the same meetings, playing softball together and stuff. He stayed clean. I didn't. I thought it was going to be the other way around when we met, but he was super cool. He's still clean doing that whole LA thing, and it's a thing. But Austin is amazing. This place is such a recovery-ready environment. There's like a million sober livings here. There's all these different recovery events. That nonprofit, the Phoenix group that does events for people in recovery, has like more events in Austin than any other chapter across the country. And they have like 90 chapters nationwide or something. This is a very friendly city.
It is.
It's easier to be sober here than it is to get high here for me.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. And you just had to find that one place, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
All these pieces had to fit, and that was a major one. I spent some time sober before when I was like court ordered in that Prop 36 program in Los Angeles. I got to about a year.
What is Prop 36?
That's their drug diversion program where they give you like a 3-year suspended sentence for a bunch of empty bags of meth in lieu of 1 year of substance use treatment and regular court visits and UAs and all that stuff. And it took me 7 years to finish 1 year of programming, but I still finally got it done. Eventually.
Never give up.
Never give up. That judge was so happy to take my picture and get me the hell out of her courtroom. She was so tired of seeing me. God bless her. I wish I could I remember her name. She was so sick of me, I'm sure. But they got me sober for a little bit.
Yeah. So let's talk about the weeks leading you up into your last detox.
Oh man, the worst experience. So all the time I spent in Seattle hustling and saving stuff up, I had built up a nice little collection of like interesting things from the Dope Shopping Network, right?
Yeah.
You get all kinds of good stuff. You can get anything for a dub from somebody who's desperate. Like, I had drones and all this other fun stuff, right? Drums.
Better than a pawn shop.
Way better than a pawn shop. You get way better prices. But when I had to start hucking off that stuff to try to maintain here, it was an untenable thing. And this place is huge and it's impossible to keep track of anybody. I didn't know anybody long enough. I had no clout and no credentials and nobody looking out for me at all. And I started looking online and I had some help finding Recovery Unplugged. And when I was like, there's a music-based rehab, sign me up. Let's go. And they took me quick too. I think 2-3 days.
What was the process like when you were getting in? Did you just call? You go on the website? What'd you do?
I believe it was intake people in Florida that like wanted like a $10 deposit or something like that. They're like, yeah, I'll put a $10 deposit down on a bed. I was a little upset that there was no pool in Texas, but they were using the photos from the Florida site.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure that that's actually the Florida site. I've never been there.
They have pools in the Florida. That's where I got clean. So yeah, it's definitely a pool.
That's a good trick, but it's a dirty trick. I was expecting a mansion with a pool. And there wasn't one, but the people were amazing. I was at a really, really good group. Great counselors. The counselors had commented that this was like one of the best groups they'd ever seen. And I think that, I played my part in that because I was in that group. And then just stayed connected as well as I could.
Every alumni event that I go to, you're there.
I'm still here.
Yeah. No, you're always at the, at the sober sessions, you're always performing, you're always out there you're out there with the Phoenix sometimes, you're always just present. You're part of the community, big part of the recovery community.
So one of my favorite things about the recovery community is that you get to pick how big a part of it you want to be.
It is. They say just not, not for treatment or anything, but in the recovery rooms, like you'll find what you're looking for out here. Mm-hmm. Like if you're looking for somebody to get in trouble with and go fuck off, like you'll find that. If you're just looking to make some friends that maybe you go to a meeting with every now and then, you'll find that. If you want to change your life and really like get involved and do things differently and meet a whole new group of people and find like a whole new family, like that's available to you.
That's available. It's absolutely true. How many different guys I know that have all like started their own little sober living by getting an apartment together and starting a band. They at least 2 households I can think of that have that going on inside of it right now.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like the ripple effect of it all. It's so cool because like one of the great things that I get to witness going back and forth to different areas, like to the Recovery Unplugged areas in Nashville, in Florida, out here, is, I'll meet someone like yourself at a meeting early on and talk to them, and then, maybe talk on the phone here and there, or text each other or see each other at some meetings, but then like a couple years into it, like find out that this person is really just living their life, and maybe they're doing something in the treatment field, maybe they're not, but they're honestly like just living better lives and like have a freedom to them, that, when you come in, all I wanted to be was not dope sick. Like that's all I was looking for. And luckily I did a little bit of work on myself and, took some shit seriously and listened to people that I trusted. That was the hard-headed thing that kept me from getting it, because it was 20 times in treatment for me. So it was, and a bunch of cold turkeys and stuff like that. But it was always like, I'm way smarter than these people. I know what I need to do. And then once I realized, like, I don't think that I do. I don't think that I got this thing figured out. Maybe I should ask this guy who definitely used, but like I used, and who now is like a fucking functioning member of society, that was something. Wait, somebody with like a studio apartment who could barely make their bills and just wasn't getting high, that was beyond my wildest dreams.
Right.
Like a car, like that was way beyond that stuff. Like, and all these things, like, I'll say it all the time, like these things that are huge, like milestones in my life now, which are coming more frequently, like buying a house, all these things. It's like this stuff starts happening, but the miracle happened the day that I was like, I can't do this alone, and started fucking listening.
Yeah.
And started taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And, because it wasn't like, coming up on 3 years now, like, it wasn't like it happened in a flash and like you knew it this time. It was like putting all these little pieces together.
Yeah, doing the next right thing over and over and over again turned into this long string of 3 years worth of next right thing.
Yeah.
I'm still in the middle of the process.
Oh yeah, that's the best part of it too. Is like, there's that saying, like, I didn't come this far to only come this far, and that keeps happening.
I didn't come this far to only come this far. I love that.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
And so what are you doing now? What does Nik do these days?
Currently, I am a overdose education and prevention trainer for a recovery community organization called Communities for Recovery, based here in Austin, like the best and biggest recovery community, RCO, nonprofit that I've ever even heard of. We got like 16 different grants that they work under, and some places go their whole lifetime with just one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're still got 16, and it's always growing. We have some great leadership, and our executive director and new director are like the most solid dudes in the world. And they gave me this lateral move to go from being a recovery support peer specialist, which I actually got some letters after my name, did some certifications, a little bit of schooling after rehab. And the lived experience of drug addiction ends up becoming a resume. That was a mind-blowing experience.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to turn out to be working in my favor all of a sudden. I can live with this. But now I get to be the overdose education and prevention trainer. So I have a PowerPoint given to me through UT San Antonio, and I find these different groups to do this overdose prevention training on. There's a Texas Targeted Opioid Response Network that was created to funnel opioid abatement funds. When they sued the pharmaceutical company for this opioid crisis,
right,
I think it was something like $44 billion, maybe, I'm not sure. And they weren't about to hand that money back to the people that they hurt, right? I wasn't getting any of that. But they created the Texas Targeted Opioid Response Network to create programs to combat the crisis and spread awareness of fentanyl and basically deliver Narcan, create the concept of saturation with Narcan, make sure that everybody everywhere had some and was trained to know how to use it so that in case anybody needs it, it's available and lives can be saved. And I think it's working. I'm doing my part anyways.
Yeah.
It's a good gig if you can get it.
Yeah. It's so funny to work in this field. I always make the joke, like when you're going and filling out the application and you have your first interview and they're like, So, Mr. So-and-so, have you ever been arrested or ever spent any time in jail? I'm like, oh no. Like, okay, well, we'll keep your name on file. Thank you very much. And then you walk in, you're like, I shot dope for 20 years. I don't even remember how many jails I've been to, blah, blah. And they're like, you're just our man,
You're
sir.
hired.
Yeah. Get the corner office.
You can get the corner office
Yeah.
too. So why don't we talk about the fentanyl crisis?
Yeah.
So, like I was saying before, like the combinations that are on the street nowadays are more lethal and unpredictable than their worst nightmare, right? The samples that they're finding are just toxic piles of garbage. And there are new analogs like carfentanil is even, well, those that don't know, and I don't know who doesn't know at this point, right? But like fentanyl is originally created as like cancer pain meds. It was formulated in a patch with like a 3-day long release.
Patches, yeah.
Right? Remember those?
That's not the street. That's not what you're getting on the street.
No, you had to have like serious cancer to get the patches.
Or the lollipops.
Or lollipops, yeah. We had friends with cancer that were sharing theirs too, but that's the way it's supposed to look. Now, small amounts of it, it's 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine, which seems excessive in my mind for an average day.
It's a bit much.
It's a bit much for like a guy trying to function, right? Like if I'm a functioning addict, I need to be able to function so I can maintain my life. Well, I can't maintain my life. I'm just blitzed. I'm fucking gone.
That's why you see the people, like the videos of people out in like Philly,
the zombie horde that they
slumped over.
Slumped over. That's there's two things involved with that. But there's the regular fentanyl, which already is 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine, and now there's carfentanil, which is like 50 times more potent than fentanyl. And then there's the poorly made fluorofentanyl, which is like almost fentanyl, but not quite. It's got some extra chemical garbage in it. And I'm not a chemist. I just know that these things are not, vitamins and minerals.
Right.
It's not something you're supposed to be doing with yourself. When you use something like fentanyl, it doesn't even feel like a regular opioid, an opiate. Like heroin is a totally different animal. When you do fentanyl, intentionally or otherwise, it hits you like a wall. It hits you like a wave. That's just like you're underwater like that, super fast. And you have no control at all anymore. They're also, because there's no quality control or customer service with the cartels and the guys making and delivering this garbage to us, there's also cutting it with xylazine. That's the biggest thing in Philly.
Is that the trank dope?
That's the trank dope. Xylazine is it's a sedative, analgesic, anesthetic approved for animals. It's not even approved for human use anymore because it causes skin lesions, ulcers, abscesses that do not heal on their own. They worsen very quickly and they become complex medical cases. Now, treatment centers like Recovery Unplugged, Substance Use Treatment Center, right? They're not equipped for complex medical cases. And the places that are equipped for complex medical cases aren't equipped for substance use disorder, right? Like, you don't want to go to rehab in the hospital. That's a crappy rehab. And you can't get your wounds healed at Recovery Unplugged. So you wind up in this horrible loop. Friends coming from Philly, 60 pounds underweight with horrible wounds all over their bodies, the exposed bones and things that had to be cut away and grafts that have to be put back on, and these chunks of them missing is from the xylazine. You ever see that old documentary Crocodile?
Yeah, I remember that in Russia.
Yep,
where the people are just
very similar outcome, like flesh eating, because it causes necrosis, and especially if you're shooting up xylazine, it's killing the spot where you're using it.
Yeah, I have a friend who, in and out, I hope he's doing okay now. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I ran into him when I was in Florida a couple months ago, and it looked like he had gotten tattoos of like lightning going up his arm, but it was like just purple. And I was like, well, he's the guy who's doing the trank dope out in Philly. And I was just like, And he's like, I'm a lucky one.
He's
this
lucky
is
he still has the arm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who don't have the arm anymore.
Have you seen a lot of this firsthand? Do you get in doing what you do, or are you more on the preventative side?
I'm on the preventative side now, thankfully. Luckily, I have seen some photos that will haunt my nightmares forever. But and I've hearing stories from my friends in Philly. It's a little nauseating, gut wrenching, and sad. It's very sad. But if you are dependent on an opioid and that's the only thing available, and the people who are putting that availability out there aren't giving you any option but to take just this crappy version of fentanyl with xylazine in it, you're going to take it because you're desperate. Just like anytime we were desperate, we would have did some dirty stuff. If I needed water to do a shot and it was only in the back of the toilet, that's water. Water's water, right?
Done it with toilets with no backs, with no basins in it.
The things we'll do. So there's some huge barriers to treatment and recovery for those people. They have to get out of that environment, find a more recovery-ready environment, because the Badlands of Kensington, Philadelphia ain't it. I've been there. It ain't the place to be trying to get sober. It wasn't even easy to get dope, but the dope was there, right? It's a spooky spot to get well, but you have to get out of that environment. You get away from that dope. You got to get those wounds healed, and then try to get into like recovery, finding a new way of life and a new way of thinking, so you can actually heal those traumas that are the reason you're using in the first place. Some people just aren't ready for all that change.
Yeah. So what's to be done street level to save lives?
We have Narcan. Creating the concept of saturation with Narcan, everybody having Narcan and being trained in the use of it is key. We can talk about it now if you want to.
Let's talk about it now. So we have our loveliest, our lovely assistant.
All right.
Grant, what was your last name, Grant?
Davis.
Grant Davis.
Grant Davis, Nik Sadecky. Nice to meet you.
Grant runs Record ATX, where we record our podcast, and is a huge part of what we do here. So glad to finally have you on here. So Grant is going to be our person overdosing on fentanyl right now.
Okay, so Grant, we're going to need you to stop breathing, turn blue, and reduce your heart rate to basically nothing.
We could do that in post.
Okay.
So let's say that Grant has intentionally or otherwise ingested a lethal dose of fentanyl. And if he has no tolerance to fentanyl whatsoever, a lethal dose can be very, very little, right? God willing, there's Narcan available and someone trained how to use it. So this is a single dose of Narcan. It's a 4 milligram dose, and it's naloxone for those of us who aren't trying to, sell Narcan over here. But naloxone, Narcan, there's Revive. There's a bunch of different brands at this point. This happens to be a Narcan's 4 milligram dose.
So explain that really quick to somebody. So somebody who doesn't know that Narcan isn't the drug, that's just the name brand.
That's the name brand of naloxone.
Okay.
Naloxone is a opioid reversal medication. It's been around since the 60s. It was patented in like 71. It has a higher affinity for the mu receptors in our body. Our bodies are naturally full of these mu receptors that are like pain receptors. That opioids fit exactly on those receptors, and that's why painkillers work. This fits better and does this magic chemical magnetic trick that kicks the opioids off the brain for 30 to 90 minutes, allowing the body to resume normal breathing function on its own. So an opioid overdose is actually a respiratory event. This differs from like a stimulant overdose that happens to be like a cardiac event.
Right.
They're vastly different, and they look different when they're happening. So if intentionally or otherwise, Grant takes too much fentanyl, he would become unconscious. He would stop breathing. He'd start changing colors. We'd be looking for him to turn, since he's a lighter skinned dude, he'd be looking for him to turn purple or blue. It's called cyanosis. We would remove the Narcan from its packaging. There's only one shot in each of these guns, so don't test them first. I'm letting him die because I know he's not dying, but I would be in a hurry right here. Inside of this little tiny red trigger, there's a small glass vial of liquid naloxone, and inside the nasal part of this, there's a little needle. So don't test it first. Just there's only one shot in each gun. You would put it up a nostril and give it a solid click and spray all the liquid into either nostril. It doesn't matter which one. And then within 3 to 5 minutes, hopefully you come back right like that. If not, we have these attached. It's a little one-way breathing valve mask, just in case. Tells you which end is up. It has a one-way valve in case Grant decides to start vomiting into my mouth. He won't be able to because I got a mask on him. Give him a couple rescue breaths. It's like one breath every 5 seconds. It's like CPR without the chest compressions. Just make sure that the brain has oxygen, because 3 to 5 minutes without oxygen, you're going into coma, brain death, and then actual death. And that restore normal breathing function and hopefully save Grant's life.
So is there any common mistakes that people make in between the time they give the first dose and waiting? Like what should someone not do? Is there anything that's like a common mistake? Like you were saying, no chest compressions. No...
You don't have, I mean, unless you're sure that their pulse has stopped, then CPR is in order. But I mean, you got to get certified to do CPR and all this stuff. Rescue breathing, you don't need a certification for. Don't panic. It can be an incredibly stressful event, and everybody starts running around like a chicken with their head cut off. I've heard stories of people with using in groups. Everybody has a warrant, and somebody overdoses, and everybody scatters like cockroaches.
Right.
Because nobody wants to be the one calling 911, and then call 911. And it's best to designate somebody as the 911 caller. Like, Grant's overdosed. Jason, go get the Narcan. Frank, call 911. And Frank, call 911. Jason comes with the Narcan. I'm doing rescue breathing. Here comes the Narcan. Grant's alive.
Welcome back, Grant.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you
for being here, buddy. And that's the gist of it. But 3 to 5 minutes between, like, each box of Narcan comes with like 2 doses. And if you have to wait like 3 to 5 minutes to give another dose, 3 to 5 minutes feels like an eternity.
So I know here in Austin, it's pretty readily available. What about somebody who might not live in the place?
If you look online, there's places that'll send it to you for free.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You scroll, you could just, I think, Google free Narcan and it'll come to your house.
Okay. That easy.
There seems to be.
It's
nowadays.
Yeah. That's...
They used to think that Narcan enabled drug use, but it doesn't. It enables breathing.
I like that. Yeah. That's, yeah, I mean, and how many lives? I've been Narcan twice. Once I think I was pretty, because they had, I don't think the heart was going anymore, and they were keeping it going.
You were really going.
Yeah. So fucking thank God for Narcan.
Right? That's something we have in common. It's an incredibly disorienting experience as well.
Oh my God. Yeah. So what can you expect from the person who's coming out of it? Because I know when I came out of it, no idea where I was. I didn't even know it was reality. I had no, you can't explain it. It's just it's like a dream-like horror that you're in. And, you're looking up. Usually I remember just like looking up and being like, what the fuck is going on? A bunch of people looking.
Where did you all come from?
Yeah.
Where did everybody come from? So there's a couple different things. If a person's opioid dependent and they are a regular user, this could potentially throw them into precipitated withdrawals. So they go from being too high to as dope sick as they've ever been, just like that. And they come out swinging and angry. They've seen people, fighting. I hear this a lot from EMS and first responders that Narcan, when they wake up surrounded by police, somehow that triggers a combative response and they start like fighting their way out of it, and they're not very happy to be alive. Myself personally, I felt great. Like, too much fentanyl and 2 Narcans was a really good combination, but it's way too hard to maintain that kind of a habit where like you need this much fentanyl and 2 Narcans to go by your day. But I felt fantastic. But I was really confused.
Winning combination.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to hang on to every day. But I was really confused where all of these people came from and why are they all paying attention to me and who are you? It's very good information to tell somebody, hey, you just overdosed and we had to give you Narcan. Thank you. Now I'm on the same page. Okay. Yeah. I can kind of get along now as long as I know that's what we're talking about. It's good information. But Narcan only lasts 30 to 90 minutes. So something else I talk about in my presentations is fentanyl has like a 4-hour half-life. Heroin 6 to 8 on a good day, but you can't even get it anymore. Oxycontin can last 8 to 12 or something. Methadone's 24 hours, whatever. So let's say somebody takes too much fentanyl and has to be revived with Narcan. It only lasts 30 to 90 minutes. They re-overdosed on that initial thing that they took because it's still in the system. It doesn't process out and metabolize. It's just bounced off the receptors by the naloxone. So there have been times somebody's gone on a long roller coaster of overdose and revive, overdose and revive, overdose and revive, up to 6 times that I know of personally.
So it's not done. Like once they're hit, that's not it. Like
it might not be the end of it. So it's always good to call 911, have EMS come and let somebody monitor the situation, stay with them, because it can very rapidly go from like, oh, okay, I'm fine, right back into like overdose before your eyes. There's videos online of cops talking to somebody they had to Narcan and they just can't stay with it.
So what's the safe zone then? Like what is the point of time where you could, if you were with somebody who overdosed and you hit them with Narcan, what would be your time frame before you would feel comfortable leaving them?
They would have to assure me with their responsiveness and, how conscious they are, because that's really the biggest thing is like if they're unconscious, not responding and not breathing, they're changing colors, like even if they're unconscious and I give them a little kick and say, hey, you alive? And they go, well, I'm fine. Okay, you're fine. As long as you're telling me you're fine, you do you. But if you ain't telling me nothing and I cannot get you to respond, then I'll probably stay for as long as it takes until they're better or they have somebody else to monitor them. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the standard time for EMS to monitor a case like that is, but I'm sure it's not a half hour. It's a while.
A few hours.
Yeah, they like to put you into like hospital for a few hours or something. Maybe, I don't know. But fentanyl is deadly. It can be very deadly.
Yeah.
It has been very deadly. I'll show you my contacts list. I do this in my presentations too. When I go to my contacts, and I type in R for rest in peace, I have to scroll. I'm still scrolling. That's all the people that are gone. Just from my phone. And that's the ones I know of.
Are those mostly people that you've known since you gotten clean too? Or is that...
These are people from all over the country.
From all over, okay. Yeah, there's this thing where, because, my fiance and I, we both went to treatment in South Florida, both worked at Recovery Unplugged as techs for years. And just the amount of people who I've known who are no longer here, so many that at times, you'll forget. And like, because their Facebook is still there and you'll see somebody comment on their Facebook and you'll be like, oh, so, and you'll be like, didn't they, they're gone, right? Like, I thought so. Like, and it's not a callousness. It's just so many. I would say, because I mean, if I'm a tech working at a rehab for 2.5, 3 years, you usually have 40 people in at a time. That's revolving. Like, I'm not a math magician here, but thousands of people who I've met, and just the amount of people who I've lost, it's in the hundreds easily.
Right?
I mean, easily. I would say if I had to guess, like 300 from the people who I knew from the time that I went to treatment to now easily 300.
That's so sad too, because like the potential that's flushed down the toilet with each one of those lives. And like it's another thing I found out about recovery is that I thought like I was this spent out old drug addict with, what good am I worth trying to recover what? Well, recovery is the self-discovery of who you were meant to be again. And there's a whole career field available out there to me. It's almost like being a teenager again. I got this fresh batch of potential that I just got loaned to me from some magic bank somewhere I didn't know existed. All of a sudden, I have a future again.
Right.
That I didn't expect.
Yeah. I mean, I get told that I have like a childlikeness to me. And I'm like, well, it's because I feel like a kid, Like I got clean at 42 and it was like, I started like exercising and taking care of myself and getting into skateboarding and just being part of life, that it had been gone for so long.
Yeah.
And it's like exciting and fresh. And like I get to see things for the first time, not the first time, but like I had written myself off a long time ago. So like it's like every day that I get to do stuff now, it's fucking fun and exciting.
Yeah, totally.
And
that's a big mistake to make. Don't write yourself off.
Yeah.
Remember that, kids. You're worth it.
The more you know.
The more you know.
All right. So now is a part of the show, which we like to call Rapid Fire Question Time.
It's Rapid Fire Question Time.
Joseph's not here, so I always start with his question when he's not here.
I'd like to meet Joseph, too, by the way.
Joseph Guardo. He was one of the bigwigs at Recovery Unplugged.
I've sent him some emails. He needs to email me back, Joseph.
Send the man an email.
What's up?
Ben and Jerry's comes to Nick and says, hey, we're going to give you an ice cream. What's in it? And then what's the flavor called?
Sour Patch Kids.
Well, it has to have Sour Patch Kids and what? Like vanilla ice cream? Or
Sour Patch Kids and vanilla ice cream with a sprinkling of Pop Rocks across the top of it. And it's called Sour Tooth Decay.
That'll, yeah. Are you a sugar addict?
Who's not a sugar addict? That's why the sugar's always gone at the meetings. It's because anybody that's been in recovery is a sugar fiend. We're all sugar fiends, absolutely.
I've seen you drink coffee at meetings before, and it's like coffee cup,
sugar. Yeah.
Coffee.
I like my sugar with coffee and cream.
Yeah, little Beastie Boys. And then and then repeat. Two or three times throughout the meeting.
From the minute I wake up until the minute I went to sleep, I actually switched to black tea just so I could put sugar in something else besides coffee.
You look healthy for somebody who likes sugar so much. Are you pretty high metabolism or active? That's another rapid fire question.
Both. Rapid fire and active. If I didn't have this trick knee, I'd skate with you a lot more. But like I tore an MCL or something, and so I'm stuck to doing stuff like bowling or skydiving is easy because I'll just fall out of the plane. I get to like wakeboard here and there. Okay. Anything else that I get to do is a
rock climbing. You do a lot. You said, right?
I like rock climbing. I started golfing just now. Like for all this time of never golfing, I started golfing last December, and it's actually a lot of fun. It's like endlessly complicated and deceptively simple kind of thing.
I have so many people who have gone the route of golf, and for business purposes, I'm starting to get it now because there's a lot of people who I could probably do a lot more like business stuff with if I knew how to golf.
It's not about perfection. It's just about like kind of getting it close. That's what I like about it.
All right. Back to rapid fire questions.
Okay, sorry.
No, that was me. Have you ever had a supernatural experience? Ghost, Bigfoot, UFO?
I have been full on astral projected as a chemically forced astral projection of the like highest magnitude. Yes. But if you're looking for outside supernatural forces, no UFOs, no Bigfoots.
Just DMT.
A lot of DMT. No ghosts, but I have seen like gremlins and goblins and things that are probably not there.
I'm sure you have.
With plenty of hallucinations.
Yeah, I forget sometimes who I'm talking to when I ask that question, and it's just like, yeah, dude, there's dudes in the trees sitting out there. I'm watching them for 6 hours at a time.
I love the people who think the helicopters are following them. Do you know how expensive it is to run a helicopter? Like, you're not worth it.
Oh my God. Sorry, rapid fire question time, but I had a dealer one time that I would come to his house to get stuff in a hurry, usually, as opiate addicts are. And he would smoke crack and then stare out the window and be like, you can't leave. They're out there. And it would be like, dude, there's nobody out. We've been through this.
I had a one-armed dope dealer one time. You want to talk about learning patience. You get a slow dope dealer with one arm. Dude, he had to count the money with one hand, take it and drive in there with one hand, and then put his money away with one hand, and get shit out with one hand. And he was like, bro.
Come on, Lefty, hurry up.
We're out in the open here. Let's go.
I'm losing my train of thought here. Okay. Finally, last question here. What's the secret?
The secret is always finding something that you enjoy in everything. Trying to push through every moment in the most positive way possible. You'll come out the other side so much happier. And I've read a few times that during near-death experiences, certain people who get to a certain point in the near-death experience have something they call a life review, where they seem to meet somebody who has sort of a connection to them, somebody that maybe they know from their past, or some loved one or something.
Right.
And they'll go through a life review that's 360 degrees panoramic and has no limit on time. Like, every point of the life is visible and experienceable at any point, and they experience all of their thoughts and actions on other people from the point of view of the other people. So when my life flashes before my eyes at the end, not only do I want it to be a good movie to watch, but I would like to see some of the better moments from other people's perspectives. When I do some random act of kindness for somebody and they didn't expect it, I want to get to experience being that person going, oh, that dude was awesome, as he walks away.
You're also going to experience the guy who you sold bread and Amosol to.
Like I said, sorry, bro. You came back, man. We all do what we do.
That's great, though, man. Nik, I love you, man.
I love you too, dude.
I'm going to give you the opportunity, though, 1 minute to go ahead and just tell the people anything that you want to tell them.
Be kind to yourself and each other. I haven't been on social media since rehab.
Yeah.
I don't have a link to anything.
Well, push what you do then.
I don't do shit.
No, I mean with the Narcan stuff. Who you work for?
Our naloxone hub is the distribution hub for OSAR Region 7. You can come by Communities for Recovery and just pick up as much as you would like. You can call us anytime. If you'd like us to come and do a training at your facility, I will come personally. I will bring my little PowerPoint presentation, and we can satisfy the grant by doing some surveys, and I'll take over an hour at a time. I love facilitating groups. It's a blast.
And how do they reach you?
Google Communities for Recovery and just call.
All right. I'll put it on there. So
you can do that too.
And have coffee for him, and with sugar if he comes to do it.
I'll bring my own for sure. I promise you that.
Okay.
So put people in the seats, and I'll come and take over the time. I love doing that.
All right. Nik, thank you so much, man. And as we like to say here on Talksicology, there's 1,000 ways in and 1,000 ways out, and we hope you find yours.